I'm Kajol Rajani, the India Area Manager of NABA. Thank you for joining us today for this session. I'll just take 2 minutes of your time here to introduce NABA and our associate partner, Maitri Global Education. I'm sure you must be knowing about NABA. It was founded in 1980 as the largest private academy in Italy, offering bachelor's and master's program, ranging in the fields of fashion, design, communication, graphics, animation, gaming, fine arts, and more. The globally recognized degrees offered at NABA are accredited by the Ministry of Italian Education. With 4,000 students from 70 different countries, NABA gives a truly multicultural environment that transforms talented students into professionals. Given the combination of theory and hands-on practical learning approach, you can boost your career with professional experience that we are offering during the studies at NABA. Finally, I would like to share that NABA has organized this session with our long-time associate Maitri Global Education. Maitri Global Education consists of a team of experts committed to guiding students in choosing the right programs at NABA. They are physically present in Italy and India for giving you an ongoing assistance while you are busy crafting your career with us. Thank you everyone, and I now leave the session to be started by our NABA's Passion Area Academic Lecturer, Luca Belotti.
So, hi everyone, welcome everyone. You should hear me and see me, I'm sure. And thank you for having me here this afternoon. Well, actually afternoon for me, but for you evening. And give me 1 sec. Share. Okay. You should all see the first slide of our presentation. So, okay, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. So here you have here you have my name. My name is Luca Belotti. My name is Luca Belotti. And I'm a fashion lecturer at NABA, both Milano and Roma campus, and I'm a lecturer and I teach both, I work both in a bachelor and master program. Teaching fashion design, so teaching a subject that is related to how to project, how to design, and also how to make a fashion collection. And Ronda is related to fashion illustration. Here is slide, you can also, if you have any question about this presentation, you can of course drop me. Let's see, okay, drop me an email, a message, or you can also contact me on Instagram. Here you have my Instagram account if you want to join me there. Here you have a selection of my works published in different platforms and magazines like Glamour, Vogue, PT, and Diane Pernet blog. And here you have a selection of some of my illustrations that you can check in Instagram. Today we are here Okay. Today we are here to talk about fashion in Italy. And this first slide is interesting because when we think about made in Italy, so the way of making things in Italy, it's interesting to see that the Italian word for fashion is similar, it sounds similar to the word of making things, so to the idea of made. And that's because the origin of the Italian name, the Italian word for fashion, moda, comes from Latin, so from modus, it's strictly connected to the idea of making things. So that's why today we're gonna see how we make the moda in Italy. And in this first slide, you have a picture of a Gianfranco Ferré shirt. Gianfranco Ferré is one of the most important Italian designers. He passed away like many more, and it is also well known for his role of art director for the Christian Dior company during the 90s. In order the profession in Italy, I'd like to start with some that have some balance between the idea of making and also the idea of why is the word industry? Why this word is important for Italy? Because Europe, we have one of the most important industrial fields of Europe. And in order to support fashion, this is really important because in order to make clothes in large quantities, since we are talking about ready-to-wear, the ready-to-wear system, you need a complete system of factories that supports the designers and the brands in order to make the clothes. You have factories dedicated to from the production of everything till the production of the small details that you can find, that you can see on a cloth, on a garment, such as buttons, zippers, jewelry, stones, diamonds. So both in terms of clothing, but also in terms of accessory, you have a complete system of production of factories that can support the production field. While, when we talk about the factory, it's also interesting to see that the traditional tailoring Italian techniques of making clothes are really respected into the production field, into industries. So when we talk about ready-to-wear in Italy, we are sure that we make clothes in a series of thousand on pieces, still and always respecting the rules of the tailoring and pattern rules.
Well, okay.
You have a series of small techniques. Think to the idea of manipulating fabrics, or maybe manipulating diamonds and stone, or maybe think to embroidery labs, but also to labs that are dedicated to the making of lace. You have a series of talents dedicated to and knowledge dedicated to the craftsmanship, so to the artisanal world, that is, of course, implemented and used by the factories and by the world of design in general. Another characteristic of the Italian way of making things is quality. So the thing that even we are working in industry, we are making stuff in factories, respecting some maybe craftsmanship and tailoring rules, we know that the quality standards are always high quality standards. A sense, there's an ethics, an Italian ethics in making things, but also because there's a series of rules that we need to respect. I mean, rules, national government rules that we need to respect in order to have the official tag of Made in Italy. Keywords are the keywords related to the idea of making. When we think about Italian brands and Italian designers, we need, of course, to keep in mind also that there's always a sort of Italians, you know that the Italians are always warm, full of emotions, they always move their hands like I'm doing right now, they're always fine, and this is an attitude that's really appreciated worldwide, so in particular also in the way of making things, and there's a sort of that is given by the cultural Italian background, both in terms of cultural production, so in terms of media as cinema, literature, music, and theater, thanks to the opera, the Italian opera, for example, but also in terms of environment. So in terms of landscape that really inspired her. You know that Italy is a long boot in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, so you can every year, during all the year, you can both ski and go into the beach, always surrounded by the brightness, nature that we have around us, but also surrounded by super architectures that are really connected with our history, so that compose and that enrich, give richness to our background. In this slide, you have a picture of a Versace campaign of the last year that was a reinterpretation of the archives of the brand. But why in Italy we have these, we can talk about this richness in terms of culture in Italy? Because if we go through the history, we can see that the location of Italy was all the center of the Mediterranean Sea. So his geographical location has always had the other cultures to go through Italy. So if you think that almost 3,000 years ago, the web comes first of all from the Middle East, then move to Greece, and then to Italy during with the Roman Empire, you can see that this location, since all the commercial traffics from Africa, from Spain, from North Europe, from East, and so on, all the traffics, the commercial traffics, for sure move into Italy. Since they're going around the Mediterranean Sea, from every part you can basically reach the Italian country, and this led the Italian culture to the other countries. And the various architectures that you can find in the various Italian cities, because if you go to Venice, in architecture you recognize a strong influence of the Asian culture. If you go to, for instance, to Milano, you will see a strong influence of the Northern European style and cultures. If you think to the Milano Duomo is a traditional Gothic, Northern Gothic European style. If you go to Sicily, to the southern part of the country, you will recognize an influence in terms from the Middle East countries. So this is really a strong example of how Italy has been influenced by cultures all over the world, and how much Italy has represented a starting point, one of the more starting point for the European cultures. Then, of course, with the discovery of the Americas, the traffics moved on the Atlantic Ocean. So after the Renaissance time, the development of cultures in general moved in countries as Spain, Portugal, France, England, and so on. But we still keep our background, our richness in our mind and in our backpacks, let me say. So, in order to understand how and why also Milano nowadays is super important for its a fashion capital, we need to go back to step back in history, and we know that fashion is one of the most important representative of what we call the spirit of the time. We know that every time, every era, every decade has a particular attitude, has a particular culture and aesthetic. And since fashion has a strong ability in adapting to the change, and change in order to following the waves of cultures, we also can say that fashion is strongly connected with the of a country. So that's why we should say that the first fashion capital of Italy is Turin, that is located. So the first fashion shows, let me say, were located in this city, in Turin, that is located in the northern west part of the country. Then the fashion shows and fashion in general moved to Rome. Then during the 50s, immediately after the Second World War, fashion moved to Florence, and finally, at the beginning of the 70s, Milano has became the fashion capital of Italy. And as I said, this was because fashion was strongly connected with the historical and the political situation of the country. So in the beginning, fashion and the production of fashion, and as a consequence, the first fashion presentations were located in Turin, because Turin was the first capital of the country immediately after the national independence. So in terms of, let me say, fashion consumers and fashion, the royal family and the bourgeoisie were located in this city, as the government members was. And also fashion was here in Turin because Turin was the first is where in Italy we had the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So since in this town you have both the customers but also the companies, the factories that can supply the fashion system, that's the reason why the fashion presentation were located in this city. Then, when the government and the royal family moved from Turin to Rome, so to Roma, that's still the the capital of our country, also the world of fashion moved there in a different way. So while in Turin, since we had the factories, we had the development of the ready-to-wear field, of the ready-to-wear fashion system, in Rome we had a development of small labs, of ateliers. So that's why also the approach was different. Instead of having factories that produce thousands and thousands of garments following a particular size system, as in the ready-to-wear, here in Rome we had the development of the haute couture system. So in order to get a garment, the bourgeois members of the government and royal family, you need to book basically your appointment in an atelier where they take your measure, your sizes, your precise sizes, and then they can prepare, they can make on made to measure your own garment. So Rome was the fashion capital in Italy till the Second World War. Immediately after the Second World War, in another city, that is we had for the first time developed fashion brands represented by a designer. So immediately after the Second World War, of a designer that lead and design a complete collection for in particular first official ready-to-wear fashion shows the ready-to-wear in Milan. We still have
Then Siddhartha.
Imagine that this is a trade show with world importance in terms of menswear presentation. During the 70s, the fashion system, the fashion world, moved to Milano. And in Milano, we have a sort of official, an official presentations of designer branded names, I mean, so brands with the actual name of the designers, like Walter Albini. Here you have a picture from Walter Albini that choose to present his collection in Milano, and that's also why right now Milano is still a fashion capital, because of two reasons. Why? Because while Roma represents for Italy the capital of the country, so in Rome, you have the headquarters of the government, the parliament, so everything related to politics. In Milano, you have two things that have national relevance for Italy. You have the Italian capital of press, but is also the Italian capital of finance. In Milano, in terms of press, you have the headquarters of the most important Italian newspapers, and also in Milano of finance in what we call two elements are important when you are making fashion, because if you are a brand or if you are a designer and art, you need people to know your brand. So that's why you need the word of communication. So that's why you need the word of brand. To sell your clothes, you need that can support you in terms of finance. Because basically in Milano there's not which are located over the fashion shows, because during your fashion show, or anyway during your fashion event and presentation, you need the word of press, so you need the word of journalists, fashion bloggers, photographers, so people that after having your collection help you to communicate and to spread also need people from the world of finance, so buyers that can buy and sell it also understood. I use this picture. Is a sculpture by an Italian artist named Maurizio Cattelan, and this sculpture is located exactly in front of the Italian headquarters of finance. So this is a sort of controversial and ironic message that the Italian people and the artists wants to give to the employees and to the manager of the Italian finance every morning before they start to work, because since you know that finance, we used to say that finance rules all our lives. This is a message from the Italian people to the employees and the people involved in the finance system. So that's why I choose this picture. So Milano, because of press, because of finance, is the fashion capital, is one of the worldwide most famous fashion capital for the ready-to-wear system. And of course, in Milano, we have the fashion shows. During a fashion show, as we just said a few seconds ago, you need different strengths to be involved in order to develop and in order to make a good presentation and a professional presentation. In Milano you can do this because during a fashion presentation you can involve different elements, different strengths. You can involve the world of press, the world of buyers, the chamber, the world of talents, and in Milano you also have the world of web. In terms of press, in Milano you have the most important headquarters of international fashion magazines, because you have, for example, the Condé Nast building. Condé Nast is the publisher of Vogue magazines, but also the publisher of Glamour, Cosmopolitan. You have the Hearst publisher building. Hearst is the publisher of Elle magazine. So you can see that since in Milano we have the fashion shows and the showrooms, so in Milano we can find a preview of the clothes, of the garments, basically. All the most important fashion magazines of the world decide to have their headquarters in town, in the city. Of course, here you have a picture of a Vogue Italian magazine cover, because Vogue Italia is considered worldwide one of the most sophisticated fashion magazines of the world. Of course, you also have a series of Italian publisher as Mondadori, for example. That's the publisher of Grazia. Grazia is an Italian magazine, but worldwide, in every country, for sure we can find an edition of Grazia, the Grazia magazine. What is interesting for us is also to see that there's a difference between what we call pure fashion magazine and a commercial fashion magazine, because magazine has Vogue or Interview or CR or ID is what we consider a pure fashion magazine, because it's mostly dedicated to insiders or professionals of the system, while magazines has Grazia, Elle, Cosmopolitan, Glamour, and so on. Even if in those magazines we can find fashion editorials and fashion advices, we should call them commercial magazine, because together with fashion editorial, you always find like the article about how to lose a guy in 10 steps, this kind of stuff. That's more a woman's wear, commercial attitude. Then fashion shows in Milano, because of the presence of the buyers. So in order to develop your business, you need people that can buy your collections, so the world of finance, the world of buyers. Here you have, for example, an examples of one of the most important department stores in town in Milano, that is La Rinascente. Inside you can find a series of corners of different brands, and in this case what happens is that the buyers of La Rinascente or of a small store, of a boutique, after, while they're watching the fashion presentation, they can choose the garments, they can select the garments that they want to place in their stores in order to let the customer buy. But also in Milano you have a series of events, public events, that support the fashion system in terms of shopping, basically, as the Vogue Fashion Night Out. In order to organize a fashion show, you also need an institution that for Italy is the National Fashion Council, the Chamber, Camera Nazionale della Moda Italiana. The Italian Fashion Council, so the Italian Fashion Chamber, is the institution that help the brands to organize their presentation, their fashion shows, because during a fashion week, if you are a buyer or if you are a journalist, you can't have at the same time the Gucci presentation at the same time of a Prada presentation. So in order to avoid these overlapping effects, we have the institution, the national institution, that define the fashion week calendar, the fashion week timetable, and also worldwide the different national councils of the different countries of the world. They also collaborate in order to define an international fashion weeks calendar. A focus about the fashion weeks. We're talking about ready-to-wear fashion week. All over the world, we have fashion presentations and fashion weeks in many cities and towns all over the world. But the official presentation are the official fashion weeks are the one in partnership with Mercedes-Benz, the car brand, DHL, and Canon, because sponsors are the main partners, the main sponsors of the national councils of every country. So, for instance, for example, in Spain, we have both. We have a fashion week in Barcelona, but also a fashion week in Madrid. The official fashion week is the one in Madrid because it's made in partnership with Mercedes-Benz, and it means that the Spanish council, in order to define the location in the calendar of the fashion week, had defined it together with the other fashion capital of the world. Of course, we also have some brands located in Barcelona that, since they want to present their collection in their town, they planned a fashion week. But this fashion week is not part of the international fashion week calendars. Then another strength, and as a consequence, strong key point of the Italian system and the Milano fashion system is the presence of talents. The Italian edition of Vogue, so the Vogue, through all the Vogue edition of the world, there's one Vogue edition completely dedicated in supporting the new designers, the upcoming designers, the talents. And the worldwide headquarters of the talents issue of Vogue is located in Milano, and as a consequence they publish every year, twice a year, a magazine completely dedicated to young talents, but they also promote the young talents, the young designers, through a series of events that take place during the Milano Fashion Weeks. You have, for instance, the next Green Vogue Awards, or you have the Vogue Talents Week, or you have a contest that is the Who's on Next contest with an award. And since, of course, you can understand by yourself, since this the headquarters of Vogue Talents is located in Milano, you can imagine by yourself how much the Vogue Talents journalist and representative has a strong look and try to catch the upcoming designer, mostly in the Italian circuit, even if they promote different events also all over the world, in India too, for example. And the last thing that's really important when we talk about the Italian fashion system, but also to Milano in particular, is the presence of the web world, both in terms of blogger, but also in terms of influencer. And of course, as you may know, the most popular fashion influencer of the world, that's Chiara Ferragni, is located in Milano, and her role is super important for Italian fashion because we know that the fashion communication has completely changed with Instagram more than other social networks as Facebook or Twitter, because since we need to see fashion, we can understand by ourselves how much Instagram is much more important than Twitter. That's basically that's based on text, of course, and that's why that's the last element that's super important when we talk about the fashion system in Milano. Okay, now I want to introduce you some designers' names, Italian names that for sure you know in terms of brand, you know the brand, but analyzing the history and the DNA of each brand, it can help us to understand other elements of the Italian fashion system. The first designer that you know for sure, but that I want to introduce you, is Giorgio Armani. Giorgio Armani is one of the most important representatives of the Italian ready-to-wear system. So he started his business during the beginning of the 70s, the half part of the 70s, and he was, he's been one of the first that started to make his clothes through a process of ready-to-wear. So we know that in order to produce a ready-to-wear collection, you need the factory, and you need to produce and to make thousands and thousands of pieces of the same garment, basing your production on a particular pattern. So if you want to make this shirt, you need to define the pattern, the paper pattern of this shirt, and then varying the size system, you can produce it thousands and thousands of times. Armani, in terms of style, is also worldwide well known because of his way of making things. So basically of this style that we call the deconstruction style, because in the 70s, what he did during the 70s, basically he took the traditional pattern of a man's jacket. From the traditional pattern of a man's jacket, he removed all the technicism. So he destroyed basically the tailoring rules behind the jacket. So he removed the darts, he removed the side, he removed the puffy shoulder, he removed the lining inside, and through this process, he created a jacket that is super soft, is super light, and starting with starting destroying the men's jacket, he put the men's jacket on the woman, and he invented what we know worldwide also has the power dress style of the 80s. Making and inventing this super light jacket, he also create and define his DNA. That's DNA that always worked around his inspiration. He's really inspired by the Oriental religions and philosophy in general, in particular Japanism, the Zen philosophy behind the Japanese style, and following this idea of the balance of the elements of nature. We are recording the stuff. He developed these super fluid garments that still, he used this fluid style that still represent a key point of his DNA. You see how much each figure is super light and fluid in terms of design and materials. The last element that is a key element of the Armani is the ability of inventing. Is one of the first who invented a complete lifestyle. This idea of complete lifestyle is well represented by the Armani building, the Armani Palace, that is located in the Monte Napoleone district in Milano, because in one building you can find all the different Armani lines that covers all the almost all the human needs, because he invented the Armani design brand, the Armani furniture brand. In this you have the Armani hotel, the Armani nightclub, the Armani cafe, the Armani restaurant, the Armani bookshop, the Armani flower shop, the Armani also food shop. So you can see how much he is being one of the first who invented a complete line of elements that can define your lifestyle, the lifestyle of a person. If you really like and you're really into the Armani style, always respecting of course his DNA, if you're really into the Armani style, you can surround your life, so build your environment, following always his taste. Of course, we know that this approach has really changed during the year, because nowadays we know that we are free to choose, to mix and match elements of different styles and from different brands, also vintage elements, but we know we must recognize to Mr. Armani the ability of inventing and creating a business, a complete company, a complete business around his name. The second designer that's really representative when we talk about the Italian fashion system is Valentino. While Armani is the most important representative of the ready-to-wear fashion in Italy, Valentino, as designer, so Mr. Valentino, is the most important representative of the couture system. We know that while we already said that in the ready-to-wear system we need factories which produce thousand versions of the same shirt, in order to develop a cloth or a garment developed couture approach, with a couture approach, is made on measure, so you need to take your own size, and is in particular is hand made, so without the use of an industrial series of machines. So Valentino is the master, the Italian master of the couture world, the couture system, and since he always worked around the idea of a romantic woman covered with precious embroideries, diamonds, stones, and precious fabrics as chiffon, taffeta, voile, so a series of super light and super feminine materials and fabrics, combined with this idea of couture, we must say that is another element that help us to say that he's a master of the couture world. As a consequence, of course, the fact that he dressed all over the world the most important stars, showbiz representative and star systems, actresses, pop stars, and so on. He is also one of the most important representative of the concept of glamour worldwide. Another key element of Valentino is the ability, the invention of a particular tone of red, used of course in the fiber dyeing and as a consequence in the fabric dyeing, that since it was completely unique and original, has become an official colored with the name of Red Valentino, officially recognized by the Pantone company. So that's another element that defines the importance of Valentino. The third brand that I want to introduce you is Gucci. Why Gucci is important for Italy? Because while the brand Armani is led by Mr. Armani, the brand Valentino was led by Mr. Valentino. In Gucci, when we talk about Gucci, there's not a Mr. Gucci who designed the collection. The Gucci strategy, and that's why is always one of the hottest brands all over the world, is to change the figure of the art director, so the person in charge of the art direction of the brand, during the years, in order to follow the taste of that particular time. So that's why during the last year we had, for example, during the late 90s and the beginning of the 2000s, the art director was Tom Ford, which defines this ultra posh glamour style of Gucci. The beginning of the 2000s was the era of the Hollywood celebrities, television celebrities like Nicole Richie, Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan. So there was this super posh idea of glamour, and Gucci, in order to follow this taste of the consumers, give the role of direction to Tom Ford, that was one of the most representative of this style. Then, during the first decade of the 2000, the role of the art direction moved to Frida Giannini with a more punk rock attitude, vibe, still following the taste of the people during the first decade of the 2000 till nowadays, where we all know that the art director of Gucci is Alessandro Michele, who's trying to let the people think and find the thoughts behind every collection, with mixing vintage clothes with technical sportswear clothes, so making a sort of hybrid idea of fashion and building a sort of new romantic style. The other designer that I want to introduce you is Versace. Versace, first the designer, so Gianni Versace, and then the house. Gianni Versace started his career in the late 70s, beginning of the 80s of the last century. And Versace is worldwide recognized because of two things. Because of his connection and link with the world of art, and because of his ironic way of making fashion. So applying pop art elements to his design, but also mixing unconventional elements still to his design, he developed a sort of ironic approach to fashion. Like in this picture, you can see how he combined a super easy shirt, denim shirt, that is part of a casual or sportswear wardrobe with a super precious couture skirt. So making this contrast, he tried to make this contrast, he risked he take a risk in order to make this contrast, but for sure he found his one of the most important characteristics of his DNA that's still applied by his sister Donatella Versace, that's right now the art director of the company. Versace is also connected with the role of the supermodels. So in the 80s and in the 90s, he defined, he invented basically the role of the model as a superstar, a worldwide superstar. So he basically invented the supermodels. So always using these beautiful girls for his shows, his photo shootings, his presentation and so on, he let these girls became superstars known all over the world. That's interesting because this is a different approach if we compare the role of the model today with the role of a top model in the 90s, because in the 90s the movement of discovering and hunting a model was from bottom to top. So these girls, Naomi Campbell, Claudia Schiffer, Linda Evangelista, Christy Tarlington and so on, we are talking about girls discovered, hunted in a corner in the middle of the street, okay, by the hunters. And then, so a normal girl then through fashion can become a superstar and then can evolve his career as an actress, as a singer, as a TV hostess and so on in the 90s. Nowadays the approach is different because we used to take the models from the role models of our society. So we take models from reality shows, from TV reality shows, or from Instagram, or from the social networks. So we and then we move these girls into the fashion system. So Kendall Jenner comes from a TV program. The Hadid sister Gigi and Bella comes from a reality show. Kaya Gerber is the daughter of Cindy Crawford, comes from the Star Systems. Victoria Ceretti comes from a reality show. So the movement, the process, we basically took superstars and they become and then we move them in the world of fashion, let them become the models. Another element, the last element related to Versace is his ability in developing iconic designs, and since these designs are super strong in terms of femininity, of sensual and sexy femininity, is another key word that defines the Versace style is for sure the word of seduction. So he has the ability of making iconic moments through the making of iconic dresses. In this case, you have this is interesting because probably you have already seen a similar picture of the American singer Jennifer Lopez wearing a similar dress the last year during the last year fashion shows. This picture is taken from the 2001 or maybe 2000 Grammys. It was the first time, why after 20 years we have a new interpretation of this garment by the Versace company. Because I was there and I can assure you, in 2000 there was Google, of course, in order to search and to look for informations and different stuff, but there wasn't Google Images. So what happened? It happened that during the Grammys night, Jennifer Lopez wore this Versace dress, and the day after, everyone was talking about the Versace dress of Jennifer Lopez. So in Google, there was a sort of boom of searching, of people searching for pictures of the Versace dress of Jennifer Lopez. But since there wasn't, since there was all the basic way of searching things in Google, the process was to look in every single website for the picture of this dress. So you can imagine how long it takes in order to get this picture of the Jennifer Lopez dress. So that's why the Google team, inspired by this event, so by this fact happened in the internet system, decide to invent Google Images. So a dedicated browser in order to look only for pictures. So that's why we must recognize, and that's also why during last year, since it was the anniversary of the creation, of the invention of the Google Images browser, Versace represent the collection that let this software in reality, that inspired the Google team. Close to the Jennifer Lopez picture, there's also this picture that underlines, that highlights the iconic seduction DNA of Versace, because he used in this case, but also in many other collections, unconventional languages, so not really related to the world of fashion, in order to create his designs. So in this picture you have an example of his collection inspired to sadomaso, to practices in particular related to bondage. You guess in the 90s it was like a scandalous event for the world of for the community in general. But his way of approaching to fashion in this, since he translated in his code, in his DNA, making beautiful dresses, he defined this new seduction of for the women. So he became at that time an iconic brand. The last brand that I want to introduce you is Prada. Prada is important for the Italian fashion system because Prada is a brand that always has a message behind his collection. So it's a brand that works, that using also in a close relation with the world of contemporary art. He developed all his collection, trying to let the people reflect on a particular topic. That's a characteristic of the world of contemporary art, because we know we could say that an artwork is art when it has a message behind for the people. And that's the same when we talk about the Prada brand. In particular, at the beginning of the 90s, Prada is the first brand that introduced technical fabrics in the world of high fashion, in the world of ready-to-wear. So unconventional fabrics like nylon, neoprene, technical fabrics, PVC, so not really common for the fashion system. At the beginning of the 90s, Prada started to use these fabrics for his collection. So giving to his collection, to his design, both a technical but also an industrial, a cold industrial minimalistic approach that nowadays is still a characteristic of his DNA. Prada is also the first Italian brand that entered in the Chinese market almost 15-20 years ago. And that's another key point of his attitude. Since Prada is a brand open to cultures, open to the discovery, open to understanding the cultures all over the world, this first collection, completely dedicated to the Chinese market, was also a first a way to underline his open-minded attitude that let Prada still be one of the most contemporary brand of the worldwide scene because of his ability in interpreting the taste, the social and the politics trends of the world. For example, here you have an example of a Prada collection of 2014-2015 that has a strong message behind, because in 2014 in Italy and all over Europe we started to have a strong immigration situation from people which, after the events of the Arabic Revolution at the beginning of the 2000 and 2010, a lot of people started to migrate from the Middle East and African countries to Europe, generating a series of consequences which were the first inspiration for this Prada collection. So that's why, if we think to the model that we are looking at in this time as a nomad, so as a migrant, as a person that has to leave everything he has in order to start his journey without knowing his picture, we can see that what you need is technical, is a series of technical garments to protect yourself from every type of, from all weathers, from the sun, from every kind of weather conditions. So that's why the use of technical garments. That's why the inspiration of to a nomad house. So that's why the skirts looks like a tent with, you see, the traditional triangular shape of a tent, of a camp tent, and with the zipper in the middle. So also in terms of design, there was an inspiration to this figure of migrants. And there was also an inspiration in terms of details. You see how each garment is full of pockets, is full of elements that are both practical but also emotional. You see on the bags this series of decoration of keys that are a sort of, that represent a sort of precious memories that the migrant needs to take, because he needs to leave immediately his country, but he wants to keep with himself in order to start his long journey. And this was a simple example, but this is the way that Prada always used in order to build his collection, in order to let the people think about what's happening all around the world. But as you can see, in this last slide, Prada is always a brand that, for instance, for example, uses bananas for one of its collections. So is also able to be funny in a sort of way. And with this last slide, with Banana Prada collection, I want to thank you, and I want to open your you, if you have any question, any curiosity, please, you can share your hands if we still have time. I guess we have 10 minutes. I can answer to your questions. I'm reading your messages, and thanks to you for having me here. Yet Banana collection is one of my favorites. It was inspired to Mexican culture, and I guess that is the spring summer 2010, so 10 years ago. Is the main strategy for any brand to... Well, you know, I'm reading a question that is, what is a strategy for any brand to rise up in business? Well, first of all, I must say that it depends on you, on yourself. I mean, because not all the designers, in particular, if we think to students from the school, not all the designers want to start a business, so wants to have a name in the fashion system, because there's a lot of designers that really like and want to work in the system for a company. So maybe they don't want to have his name, his own brand. There's also a lot of designers that don't want to make business. They just make fashion because they just want to make fashion because because it's a passion, because it's like a way of expressing themselves. So as an artist. So for many designers, there's not really a business as a final goal. For the designers, so now I'm answering to your question. For the designers who want to start this business, I guess that you always need the support of the two elements that we just said. So in particular, the support of the word of communication. And I think that nowadays and right now in particular, the use of social networks that you are capable of, it's really a way to let people know your way of thinking and your design in general. And then once you start to be a known designer, it happens sometimes that you have offers from the world of finance, so from investors, in order to make your business. Well, when you talk about luxury, because there's many in Italy we have a great number of Italian-based brands. What defines luxury when we talk about made in Italy is, and so it's also something that justifies the price of a garment or of a bag or a pair of shoes, is for sure the material, so the quality of the material, the material, also the origin of the material. So if the material is 100% produced and manipulated and worked in Italy, it defines a higher quality on the final product. Then the man labor, so basically the person, the knowledge, the skills of the person, the know-how of the person who's making that particular pair of shoe or bag. That's maybe something that only few people knows, and for sure the final decoration that we can apply to a final product. This is something that defines a higher price, and as a consequence, that defines that let people, that let a brand be known as a luxury brand. About all the questions related to NABA, I think that you can refer to schedule in a second time, right? Am I right? Yeah, Yasmin is confirming. So guys, if you don't have, just wait a second. Okay. Yeah. One sec, just to answer to your questions. Okay. I was looking for the slide. Okay, if you can you see it? I guess. Okay, if you have any further question, guys, you can join me on Instagram or by mail luca.belotti@naba.it. In terms of when we think about the content of this lecture. Again, if you need any further information about the school enrollment and this kind of stuff, you can ask to Keijo.
Hi, thank you, Luca. It was a very nice session. For any information regarding the programs at NABA or application admission processes, any further information, please connect with me. I'll share my details. You can also connect with Maitri Global because they are our associate partner and they are actually quite committed to help all the students for the information and admission processes, and they will be able to help you out very much on the detailing and opportunities also while you are applying with us, like scholarship and all those things. So feel free to connect with us, and in case you need further information, brochures, program structures, we would be happy to share all those things. Thank you very much.
So, okay, goodbye, guys. I leave you and see you next time, virtually, maybe the next time. Thank you, guys, for your time. Thank you, Yasmin, for the support.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.